Okay, so here's my version of a stripwood chopper. The handle and the pivot are printed with PETG. I'm using a chisel edge razor. It's only sharpened, well, it only has an angle on one side, a bevel on one side. That way when cutting the stripwood, the piece that I'm cutting off is perfectly square on the one end. I made some fences for it, and this is adjustable, and I can go to either side. I have it set so that I can go all the way up to the end and whatever length I need, and if I need it to be a little bit longer than what I can do with the extension comes off. And then you can switch it over to the other side. And I have an extension for that side. If, and that way it's just, whatever direction you want to cut in. And obviously you can turn the blade around so that the flat part of the blade is towards this side. I made some cutting guides, some angle guides. Got 90 and 45. This one does 45, 75, and 60 degrees. This one does 30 degrees, 150 degrees, and 90 degrees. And of course I can make anything else I want. So with the handle, it uses ball bearings for the pivot. That gives a really nice motion. And if I had printed the holes a little bit smaller, maybe 0.5 millimeters, those would be a better press fit and there wouldn't be any wobble. There is a slight, very, very slight wobble, but it's good enough that it will cut straight. These bolts here they serve two purposes. One is to provide support to the blade. Because of the direction I printed this, if you push too hard or even just over time, it could end up splitting the handle. So these bolts distribute that load across the handle, across the layers. The other thing it serves is it allows you to make sure that the blade comes all the way down, and you can adjust it as you start wearing a little. I'm sure over time a little notch will wear in here, and then you can just keep adjusting it so that it cuts flush and even, and then it just bolts through this piece of melamine. And I printed some feet for it out of TPU so that it could, have a good non-skid footing, and also to clear the fastening bolts for the pivot. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. This was my first design, and it definitely has some adjustments I need to make to the design. One is to have these holes go all the way through instead of just part way, because trying to get them tapped so that the screws could go far enough down was a bit of a nuisance. I had to put some cutting teeth on one of the bolts to finish off. If I had it go all the way through, then the tap would be able to go completely through and have nice, properly formed threads. As it stands right now, because of that, these actually are held in place pretty well at the bottom of the hole, because the threads are tighter down there. if I were to tap all the way through, my plan is to use these, because then you can thread this down and this will be threaded on here to act as a locking nut. So when you thread it down to the adjustment you want, you just tighten down that wing nut to the handle and it'll hold everything in place. So that is my version of a stripwood chopper, cutter, whatever you want to call it. And I think it worked out pretty well. I just need to put some edging on the board so it looks nice and be good to go.